Yes, yes, yes! And I'm calling it the Nonary Game! Evidence Edition!
Zero, the mastermind of the AB project, is you.
What? No, that's not possible. That's bullshit.
No, it's the truth. Fighting it isn't going to do you any good. Please, Doctor.
I'm not a doctor.
You will be a pioneer in the field of genetic engineering.
You're lying.
No, I'm not. You created him. Well, I suppose I should say you are going to create him.
Create?
His name is Kyle Klein, your clone. That is why he looks just like a younger version of yourself. 23 years ago, in the biolab here in Rhizome 9, you created Kyle. Well, I suppose for you, that's still in the future. When I said I was born and raised here, I was still pretending to be him. The gravity here is only 1/6 of Earth. If nothing was done, the reduced gravity would cause his bones to be weaker than normal human ones. But you prepared for that. You gave him that armor. Ever since he was born, he's lived inside of it. It kept his muscles and bones strong. He wasn't forced into it for the Nonary Game. He's been wearing it every day, all his life.
But why would future me create a clone?
He was to be your spare. If something happened to you before the project began, he would take your place. I mentioned before that the AB projects A and B stood for after and before. That isn't all they mean, though. The A also means anima, and the B means body. Anima is another word for the soul, or the consciousness. Body is, well, exactly what it says on the tin. The past consciousness will go into the future body, and the future consciousness will go into the past body. They switch. That was the chief goal of the project.
Wait, so the future person goes into the past person?
Sigma, do you remember the note you found in the garden?
You mean this, right?
Yes. Ah, of course, it was you who investigated the garden in this timeline.
Yeah.
Sigma, take a good look at this. It's an illustration of the time jumps your consciousness is making.
I just want to address the huge plot hole with Sigma being an old man. They hinted at it a while. Dio kept calling him old man. Quark would call him Mr. Sigma. Everybody thought he was a huge perv for wanting to see them in their swimsuits and super creeped out by him the whole time. But the fact that his arms are big and beefy, and he never notices, and nobody calls, like, either his arms aren't beefy and he's just not noticing that his arms are not beefy, or his arms are beefy and he's an old man, nobody calls him on why he has beefy man arms. Additionally, he investigates the garden and he looks into the water a bunch to see the stars and shit. I guess to see the stars, the lights out. But you can look at the lion in the ponds in the garden, and there's no mention of the fact that you're an old man. Also, I'm pretty sure there's at least one mirror somewhere in this facility. I want to say the infirmary. It's a dumb twist, but it's not the dumbest. Also, following this line is completely, like, headache-inducing.
A is where everything began. December 25th, 2000.
Oops, I hit the wrong button.
You inhaled the white smoke in your car and lost consciousness. From there, you jumped to B. January 25th, 2074. You woke up in one of the AB rooms in Rhizome 9. You are in your own body, but it is 67 years old. Your consciousness has jumped 45 years into the future. I believe that may explain why you didn't notice the reduced lunar gravity. The body you woke up in was much older. Normally, you would have noticed that your muscles were much weaker. In this case, however, the lower gravity balanced that out.
I'll let it slide. It's some bullshit, but there's worse.
Moving
Oh, whatever.
on, if you continue along this line, what happens next? You reach C, which is January 27th, 2074. That is today.
So we've been playing the AB game for 2 days.
Whoa. Wait, what do you mean? Are you saying it's been 2 days since we woke up?
Oh yeah, because they're experiencing things at 1/6
36
the time.
hours to be exact. Have you already forgotten? You are all infected with radicals. The virus slowed your brain down, so yes. 36 hours of real time.
And nobody's
have
eaten.
passed. But to you, it only seemed like 14 hours and 40 minutes. Now comes the important part. After this, your consciousness will return to
You might
the
be thinking,
past.
what about the timers? Those timers are rigged to match up with their, perception. So because you have to manually check the timers, they just move it at incorrect speed. That's easy explainable bullshit. Consciousness returns
It
to
will
the past
re-emerge
at point D.
Point D. April 13th, 2029. You will return to your younger body.
But that's the same day as the reactor explosions.
Yes. That is why I said it will be too late. You will return to the past, but the events you would want to prevent will have already happened. The story does not end there, however. The line continues. After reaching point D, you will eventually return to B.
Reaching point D, you return. I'm following the line instead of just jumping from dots. So you go almost. Start here, you hit A, around the test site. He gets kidnapped. You go here to wake up and start VLR. End of VLR. We're going to jump to the reactor explosion, and then we're going to come back to the start of VLR.
But this time, you won't be jumping through time, or at least not at a rate faster than normal. Your consciousness will spend 45
years
years
having the same body.
inhabiting the same body until you reach point B.
Actually turns into an old man with all the knowledge of everything in his old man body. And then,
You remember when B is Sigma?
January 25th, 2074, like what you just told us 36 hours ago.
Correct. That was when the consciousness of the 22-year-old Sigma jumped into the body of 67-year-old Sigma. So where did the older version of you go when you took his body?
Point A. So, Sigma turns, whatever he is, like 18. Jumps to the start of VLR where he's young man and old man head. Has VLR happen. Goes to a thing we're going to see later. Grows up 45 years to old man Sigma with the knowledge of everything that's happened, and then his mind switches with young Sigma. So he becomes old Sigma in Zero Time Dilemma. Sorry, in young Sigma's body, then gets into Zero Time Dilemma. Spoiler, he is Zero Time Dilemma. They all just started.
His consciousness will go back in time 45 years. For a period of time, he will inhabit your younger body. While your younger consciousness is elsewhere, he will be you in the past.
But once that body reaches point D, My 22-year-old consciousness will come back from point C.
That's correct. When that happens, the older version of you will be ejected from your younger body and return to your body at C.
So it's rotating.
Rotating, I suppose you could put it that way. But look at this illustration closely. What if you take all these lines and untangle them? You get one single line. It may look complicated, but in truth, it's a single straight path with one exception.
That line here at point E.
Exactly. Point E is December 31st, 2028, the day of the total eclipse.
Day Radical 6 gets out of the test facility.
Yes, by now you've likely figured it out on your own. The purpose of the AB project was to get the consciousness of the 67-year-old Sigma from point B to point A. If we can do that, we can change what happened 45 years ago.
So the old version of me will keep Radical 6 from getting out by jumping into my 22-year-old body on New Year's Eve 2028.
Yes, that is why this line could not be interrupted. In order for the 67-year-old version of you to reach point B, we first have to go through point D. In order to get to point D, we must jump from point C, and for point C to happen, we had to recreate everything that happened in this facility. That is why we have faithfully retraced history up to this point, so that we might save humankind from destruction and undo the horrors of the last 45 years.
You took away my picture before I said something else. Give me back my picture, old lady. File. Where is that one? It might be a secret, actually. But no, it's from the bee garden. There it is. So this is your time dilemma. So on that one ending where you hit VLR, you go here again and start the whole trip over. Where you get to be... young Sigma gets his head back and he says, "Oh, we fucked up. Everything's horrible. Radical 6 is everywhere. I'll just go to point C and kill myself because everything's wrong." Or get the successful end where you split off into a new timeline where everything's great.
What is that?
Tell me one thing. You said that point C is January 27th, 2074, which is today. It's going to be a jump, and I'll jump to April 13th, 2029.
Yes, that's right.
But look, I'm still old. When is this jump supposed to happen?
Very soon, yes.
Soon? And what's going to trigger it?
We need potential energy stored to send your consciousness into the fourth dimension. Fortunately, we now have plenty of that. Thanks, ironically, to Radical 6. All that remains is
The
to
irony
launch
is actually
your
pretty delicious.
consciousness.
The only way this works at all is because of Radical 6. The only way this has to happen all is to stop Radical 6.
Like a bullet from a slingshot.
Like a bullet.
Didn't
How
I
do you
tell
propose that?
A crisis. A moment balanced between life and death. That can jumpstart your brain.
What do you mean?
You haven't figured it out. I mean this.
That's why she takes the knife. Dio's knife. No sooner were the words out of my mouth. Fi! I screamed and leapt toward them. Akane was already in motion, the knife diving toward Fi's chest. I was almost there. When I regained consciousness, I was on the floor. There was a dull pain in my chest. I felt for a cut, but something was in the way. It took me a moment to realize that it was Akane's body lying on top of me. I twisted my neck to look around. Nearby was an old tombstone. On it was written a few words in Latin. Tu fui, ego eris. What you are, I was. What I am, you will be. Oh man, there's so much bullshit to be like tearing apart about the twists we've got, but there's still more to come. I'm gonna talk through the credits a little bit, but don't worry, we'll come back to more. So everybody has Radical 6. Except Luna. The computer's just slowing her down. Kyle exists to be Sigma's spare, but I don't understand how at all he's supposed to be Sigma's spare. Like, can he just magically jump into Sigma's head at any time he fucking wants because he's a clone? That's ridiculous. I can kind of barely accept the Akane Kyle in the box thing, but it's pretty dumb. The thing that really, really sucks is that Kyle doesn't actually exist anymore. Kotaro just forgot about Kyle. He's been asked, hey, what happened to Kyle? Boom, blocked on Twitter. Boom, big question ignored. No, there's no fucking Kyle. He's so sick of hearing about Kyle. Kyle was a mistake. There is another thing that should probably be talked about in Zero Time Dilemma, but because I never did, and I'm not going back to it, I'm going to talk about it here. I don't know if I have enough time, but I'm starting. Or even in 999 I could talk about it. But the idea that Brother is Delta instead of Snake makes it way worse. And I know in an interview Kotaro explains that what happened is he was writing VLR and CTD together, and then by the time he got the green light for Zero Time Dilemma, he was bored of the story. He didn't want to like make the game with that story because that story was boring. He knew what happened. So he rewrote the story so that it would surprise him, and surprise, it was not very good. A bunch of plot holes from VLR were just fucking dropped in the trash, and the whole Brother thing is a mess. But there were a lot of hints dropped in 999, and I did hear that Brother was Snake. Oh, fuck. Oh. And I mean, if you want to see those, fucking Google them. Got our Phi end. We got all our ends. Time after time. But we're not done. Headquarters, April 13th, 2029. We'll come back this next time. There's still a little bit left, I think. There's those two, and we did complete all of the... Oh god, don't do that. I hit the jumpstart thing. Oh, is this just gonna start spoiling things? Okay, I'm just gonna close this, so we'll just talk in the black screen for a second. Oops, spoilers. There is a secret ending with some fancy little bonus stuff that I will show off because we got all the gold files. But for now, thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.